Hi, I'm Dr. Grace Horner. I'm currently running for CFISD School Board Trustee Position 5. I'm a strong conservative Republican, and I stand for your values. I was born in El Salvador. My parents and I migrated to New York City, naturalized as a teenager. I decided I wanted to join the Navy and serve my country, so I did that in 2000. The number one reason that I am running right now is to recreate and to bring back a world-class education system for our school. CFISD should be at the very top. School board is absolutely important at this point because we see how the children's lives are being affected. Kids are the future, right? Seeing all the different disparaging family dynamics, all the different mental health statuses, all the different things that are taking place within each child. You know, it's important to stand and actually advocate for these kids and their families. There is a huge aspect right now of human trafficking, and most people are not aware of that. They understand that, you know, Houston is the #1 hub for human trafficking as it is. A lot of this is taking place in our school systems. It needs to be tackled. It needs to be stopped, okay? Children are being hurt, and that absolutely has to stop right now. But when you're using certain topics like implicit bias, when you're using certain topics like, systemic racism, and calling it the gold standard of America, I mean, this is not who we are. This is not what America is. China's #1 right now. And we stand as a country on the world stage as 48. I mean, America is the strongest power in the world. CFISD is a golden nugget, right? So if as falls CFISD, falls Texas. As Texas falls the nation. So this is absolutely very important. November 2nd will be the next school board election. It's an extremely important election. Please vote for me. I'm Dr. Grace Horner, and I will be on position number 3 on the ballot. Please vote for me, as action changes everything.
So thank you so much for your time. I am so sorry. I had a presentation completed and everything, and I'm having trouble actually logging into the thing, so I'm going to have to read off my statistics because I found a ton of new statistics that I wanted to present to you guys today. So yes, I'm Dr. Grace Horner. I'm running for position 5 of CFISD School District, and I have 6 children. Actually, I have 4 of them still left in the system. 2 of them have recently graduated. Yes, they're waving to me in the back. 2 of them have recently graduated. My eldest is 24 now. He's autistic and nonverbal. And our 10-year-old is also autistic and nonverbal. Our 18-year-old is about halfway done, 3/4 of the way done with her military training for basic and Navy. So followed in mom and dad's footsteps, I guess you can say. But, you know, really I wanted to talk to you guys today, and I'm so glad that everybody's kind of been bringing up, you know, the CRT and everything, but we really need to discuss the other things that are taking place beyond CRT. And really, what does CRT stand for, right? I tend to look at it in different ways. I look at it as maybe it's chaos re-education training. Maybe it's Christian re-education training. Why? Because like Hunter had mentioned also, all the things that have been taken away from our schools, right? We are not allowed, if you're Christian, if you have that kind of faith behind you, you're not allowed to really speak out and speak up. You have to stay silent. Everybody else is okay to speak, but not you guys. You guys just have to kind of be quiet on your own, right? That's discrimination, last I checked. Okay, so when we look at everything, yes, I don't know if you guys heard, but I was born in El Salvador. My parents and I actually migrated to the United States, and I arrived. Don't remember much. I remember being in a big, beautiful airplane, and I loved airplanes ever since. But when we got here, it was because of the war, of the revolution that was taking place in El Salvador. So it was under the amnesty program. So when we came here, it was a breath of fresh air. And kind of like Natalie had mentioned also, I am the American dream. Because we started off as something completely different, a very different, you know, status altogether. I actually had to learn English once I got here. So I was bullied a bit when I was growing up, but I grew up in New York City. And that, for me, was a very challenging perspective altogether. However, my parents were able to bring me to school choice. And because of school choice, I was able to learn so much more. So I'm a strong advocate for school choice and all those different programs that need to be brought into the system. I actually learned very recently that there was a school choice program in Houston ISD, and it was destroyed. Very unfortunate, because I didn't actually know that was, I don't know if any of you guys were aware of that. But the different aspects of school choice and the different abilities for parents to actually have that advocacy for their children is really important. And so In Sci-Fair, and this is really what it kind of got me a little wow. Our current, as of the last school board, is 39.8 million in deficit, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge number. They kind of touted it kind of happily, going, yeah, this is all we have, you know, it's not a big deal. We actually have a surplus of 2.4 million. You know how fast 2.4 million goes, especially when they're on the last build out of their, of the whole process. They have 5 schools coming up right now. That's gonna go within seconds. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? So one of the reasons why we're talking so much about CRT and all these different things, obviously from what's going on in the nation, is we have to look at this from the perspective of what are these funds being used for? The funds that are coming in, let's talk about ESSER funds for a second. ESSER is elementary and secondary, what is it exactly? Elementary and secondary, yeah, it's a grant for emergency relief fund. And so Congress actually gave us 200, if I'm not mistaken, 200 billion to play with, and if you want to call it play with, right? Yes, so it's 200 billion. And each ESSER fund goes by stages. So right now we're in ESSER 1, and TEA will not actually allow the rest of the ESSER funds to be released until they go in stages, so it's 2023 and then 2024. But where we are right now, there was 122.7 billion that was given to CFISD. Why is that important? Because under the American Relief Plan, you are required a minimum of 20% be used for evidence-based white education. Okay? I want to know where this evidence-based education is. I don't know what that is. I'd love for them to tell me what that is, because last I checked, we all bleed the same blood.
Yeah.
Right? Last I checked, we're all Americans. And I know that if I'm coming into this ISD, I'm going to be representing almost 117,000 children and families. How can I possibly sit here and say, I'm only going to represent one side? No, I'm going to represent the other side. This is supposed to be a nonpartisan race, and the powers that be have turned it into a partisan race, okay? Now, yes, of course it's important to hold to those conservative values, but it is equally important to understand that we need to stop concentrating on what color somebody is, on what name they decided to be called. And for God's sake, last time we checked, we were born male and female, and I'm sorry, but I have a medical background. I've never seen anything beyond male and female, okay? When I started off my process in medical training, I was in ultrasound. So I was an ultrasound tech who specialized in high-risk OBGYN, and I also specialized in fetal medicine, okay? I don't ever remember seeing a fetus that said, I'm not sure what I'm going to be yet. They're all the same, okay? So, I mean, I have children. I don't sit there and say I have 4 girls, maybe something else now. I got 4 girls and 2 boys, you know? And that's how we need to maintain that, because the confusion that comes out of the CRT training is what really needs to take place right now as far as our purview. We need to look at what exactly they're doing. It's confusion, okay? I have 26 years combined, which sounds insane when I think about it because I feel so old. There's 26 years combined of, business management. I have military included, and my husband and I, served together. And fun fact, we met in the Navy. We have all these different things that are taking place. So when I'm a psychologist. I'm actually a CFISD resource psychologist, but I'm a pastoral psychologist. Many people don't know what that is. Marriage and family therapy. I see the things the struggles that are taking place within the system. I treat teachers, I treat educators, and you know what they tell me? Can you advocate for us? Because our voices are being silenced. I need somebody to stand in there and help me, okay? They are aware, there are good ones out there, and they are aware. What I'm tired of hearing is everybody that has to come into the board has to have some kind of elongated, service to the board or to the system. Last I checked, that kind of leads the way to establishment.
Yeah.
A board should have different types of people presenting different skill sets so that you can come together and make a difference, right? And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to come in with a fresh start with something I call Grace's Aces. And it's based on American values, checks and balances, enrichment of education, and and safety and pushing forward towards success, okay? So when we look at this process itself, it should lead the way for what the child needs. Being able to concentrate on each child specifically and not as a mass group think. is important. Why do children fail? Why is mental health such a challenge? Because children are failing because they look up to us. What are we doing for them? We have to stand up for them, okay? I'm Dr. Grace Warner, running for position 5 of CFISD. I would love to gain your votes. Thank you very much.
Our responsibility is to go and learn more about these candidates and find out what they're actually fighting for. And our responsibility as Christians beyond here is when anyone goes on the board, gets elected to the board, we have to hold them accountable to what we've heard.
Amen.
Okay? Because the Lord holds us accountable.
Amen.
So I just want to thank all of you. You've been fantastic. Does anyone have any questions? This is your time. Okay. Some information is on Validpedia, but it's very poor, the information that they have there. What I was doing when I was trying to find out about these candidates, and I tell you, it's very hard to find out about the incumbents. It's like they erase their whole story. You just have to go in and dig. I went to their Facebook accounts. I went to their Twitter accounts. I went to their websites. I started calling people. Whenever I would see a candidate would have people that were endorsing them financially, I would look at the candidate, that form, and I would try to find out the people that were endorsing them, because I can assure you that an atheist is not going to have a whole bunch of Christians endorsing them. And we do have atheists on the boards, in case you all don't know that.
Can I say something?
Yes, sure.
I just found something yesterday. And actually, this is something that I had on my presentation. I just found 10 specific scholarships that are being given through the school systems, specifically for those who consider themselves agnostic or atheists. I will be more than happy to forward that to you so you can make it available. I cannot believe that this is what we're looking at. I mean, it's one thing to have, respect for others and everything like that, but to sit there and say you have to make sure that you don't believe in God so that you can get money? Really? This is what we're telling our children. What she was just saying, we need merit-based staffing. I mean, yes, you have to hold people accountable, but don't just hire people just because they're there. I mean, for Christ's sake, look into their backgrounds. Check, do this whole merit-based staffing aspect. If you're not going to hire just anybody willy-nilly for your company, why would you hire somebody to represent you on a school board that has nothing good to bring, but that has a history that is highly questionable? Look into all of this, right? But then our teachers, like I said, I do advocacy. I do advocacy for students and teachers alike, okay? Now, one of the things that I can tell you about definitively is, which is sadly to say, but counselors. The counseling system as a whole, when I was doing my training, and I went to Abilene Christian University, I had to go and get represented by an attorney to go against Abilene because they wanted to stop my husband and I from opening our practice. We had every right to do it. This is a Christian university. There's nothing Christian about the program. I'm sorry to say. Marriage and family therapy, okay? This is what I took. And they sat there and said, no. We can't have all these things in the system. We can't have people just going out there willy-nilly just talking about whatever they feel like. And I'm going, this is Christian-based, supposedly, right? No, it's not. It's not at all. I had a teacher, a professor in there who actually sat there and said, well, I gave up my ministry. I used to be a minister. We said, why'd you give up your ministry? He says, because counseling is more important. I go, what a fool. Don't you understand that ministry is counseling and counseling is ministry? You sit there and represent, and more than anything, don't just use your words, use your character. If people are going to judge me on anything, I'm going to look at my character based on the character of Christ himself. That's who I want to be like. Yes. That's who I need to represent for my children, right? I am not just going to sit there and speak on it, because here's the thing. In practice, we might have a Christian-based practice. We are pastors, we are chaplains. But in practice, it matters more what I teach them through my character than what I'm speaking in my words, right? And that being said, that's exactly what needs to take place with all these teachers and all these different people out there. Stop pandering. I mean, for Christ's sake, we need to stand up and actually support our children, support the ones who are trying to do the right thing. And, get out there on the school boards. Yes, of course it's important. Not enough people are showing up to the school boards. Could you imagine what it would look like if an entire community showed up at that school board? 117,000 families crammed into that school board? What are they going to say? No? There's strength in numbers. There's strength in numbers, okay? And here's the thing, yes, I was trained in strategy by the US Navy. They spent a lot of money on me to train me, okay? And I'm gonna use that money and I'm gonna turn it around to do something good for this country. My husband and I served on 9/11, all right? We were out there. I grew up in New York City. He grew up in Pennsylvania. He grew up, what, 15 minutes from the 93 crash? You think this was just a coincidence that I met him? No, this is absolutely not. This was God's doing. And I know that I have a purpose. And my purpose is to stand for the children. That's what I do. This is what I started off doing, why I wanted to do it, right? But to get in there and have that voice, you need somebody who's not afraid to take the challenges, to look somebody in the face and say, no, I'm gonna make those changes for you because I have to, because I know that this is my calling. Don't be afraid to stand up and be that voice. You're Americans. We're all Americans. This is who we're supposed to be. Use your constitutional rights.